Hi, this is Harish here. Welcome to DB2 LUW Tips and Tricks video tutorial part 113. In this video tutorial, I'm going to ramble on roll forward phases. This is more like a continuation of the video tutorial part 112. The scripts and the data files are freely available for download in db2lawacademy.blogspot.in. However, you will see a delay, so I will take some time to upload the test cases in for this particular video. This slide talks about a disclaimer. So the classes are all reckonings are expressed here in this video are personal. I have no affiliation with IBM and I do not have any internal documentation access. Whatever information that I'm going to provide in the next slide, definitely some validation will be required. I cannot say it is 100% that way. I cannot ascertainly say or assertively say it's like certainly it's like that. And whatever I'm going to say about the roll forward utility and the workings of it are all based on the test cases and examples and the results of those, and I kind of deduce or infer from those test cases and examples and the results observed by my by doing those test cases. Okay, so without any delay, let's go to my ramblings about the roll forward phases. In the last video tutorial, we saw that there is a backward phase, there is a forward phase, there is a redo, there is undo, and what are the open transactions and what are closed transactions. So in order to bring more clarity into the backward phase and the forward phase, I'm going to ask another question here, just like the previous video. So the question is the backward phase aware of the forward phase activities? So the scenario or the question in terms of an example would be, suppose if I have in my archive location log files starting from S0000, I don't know. So S00.log to 100.log. So let's say 0 to 100 is there in the archive location, and you initiate the roll forward to end of logs and complete. Okay, so do that. And when you do that, you can observe obviously in the list utilities command or db2pd command using the recovery option, you can look at the various phases and it will be in the forward phase initially. So once it starts the backward phase, okay, after there is some actual work done, like it reports, completed work in the backward phase. So once that starts kicking in, what I'm going to do is add the files 101 to 125 to the archive location. So by that way, what I'm doing is I'm creating a scenario where after the backward phase has started, I'm adding more files to the archive location. So will the backward phase be aware of it? So the backward phase exactly knows where the forward phase stopped, at which log file it stopped. So if I do this test case, and I did that test case, so what happened was the backward phase exactly stopped at 100.log. It did not proceed further for retrieval of 101, 102, 103, 125. It did not do that. So which means that the backward phase is aware of the forward phase where it stopped, and it makes a logical sense because see, only in the forward phase every log file will be, every changes will be replayed, and in the backward phase you all you do is undo, which is like open transactions are getting rolled back. So in the forward phase, if you not play the transaction, in the backward phase, there is nothing to undo, right? So, but the point here is the backward phase is aware of the log number where to stop, right? So that is the important point here. So we can take this awareness and extend the idea or concept, and I am doing much of a logical guesswork here. Okay, so what I'm thinking is like, why can't we build a list of open transactions during the forward phase or during the beginning of the backward phase? So by that way, what will happen is I can deduce what is the oldest open transaction, and my backward phase can start from that particular place. See, the backward phase need not go through again from 0 to 100, again scan all those log files. So what it can do is it will start from the oldest open transaction, because that is where you want to your actual rollback of the undo activity starts from that point, right? So suppose if you have 0 to 50 all committed transactions, again reparsing those log files doesn't make sense, right? So you can start from the oldest open transaction, which is like maybe 50.log or something, and proceed from that point onwards. And also, how exhaustive or how informative that you build that list of open transactions is very, very important, because you can ignore those transactions. See, if you start from 50, so 51, 52, 53, do you need to process all the log files? Because certain log files might have some other transactions which are all committed or rolled back down the lane. So if it is not in the list of the open transactions, the backward phase can ignore those transactions, right? And another important behavior that I find is, if you can build the list in a very exhaustive manner, like this is the transaction ID, this is the LSN number for it, and this is the log file in which it is present. If you can build a list like that, then what I can see is there will be a jump in the log file processing if it is not in that list. So what will happen is like, so let's say you start from 50.log in your backward phase, 50, 51, 52 you will process, but after that, let's say 50, 50, 51, 52, so 53, 54 up to 60.log, all some other different transactions are there, right? Which are committed or which are rolled back. So you don't need to worry about it. You again start from 61, right? So if you can save, if you can build a list saying that what are all the open transactions and in which log files the each open transaction is starting, then what you can do pretty much is, um, when the backward phase is processing, you can see literally the backward phase jumping log files. So I have observed this in the DB2 PD hyphen recovery command. So I did something like similar thing, and I was able to see that the completed work will be 400 MB, and suddenly it will go to 2.5 GB. So which means like about 500 MB of 500 log files, which is like roughly 2 GB, in 3 seconds it processed. And because all those are committed transactions of some other transaction. So definitely it's not scanning those 500 log files. I mean, I'm having like such a low end laptop, so it's not scanning those 500 log files, one. And the second thing is, what I did was, after I start the backward phase, let's say it is about like 200 MB has been completed in the backward phase, I deleted those log files which are containing only the committed transactions or the rollback transactions. uh, so what happened was, uh, it did not even try to retrieve it, right? So uh, so that way, these test cases, what I did, definitely hint in presence of such a list of open transactions, whether it is getting built in the forward phase itself or whether it is getting built in the beginning of the backward phase. I'm not very sure, but it again it makes, I'm leaning more towards building that list in the forward phase itself, because you don't want to go in the backward phase again scan from 0 to 100, right? Which is again, it's a waste of resources, right? So if you can build the list in the forward transaction, I think that would be the I mean, once you, any case in the forward phase, you will have to go through 0 to 100 mandatory. So why not build the list at the same time? It saves you a lot of time in the backward phase. Okay, so that's the thing that I wanted to share in this video tutorial. Like, the backward phase is aware of the forward phase activities, and I am able to see that a jump in the completed amount of work. If I observe that in the DB2 PD recovery output, I'm not going to share test cases because it is, see, I have to do 2 GB of transactions, and I have to also, I mean, if I show you in this video, I don't know, like it might take some half an hour, and you'll be just staring the screen. So I'm not sure. I'm not so how to say that. But I wish. And the second thing is, I want to, as I said here in the previous slide, it requires. See, I'm not like an internal. I don't have any internal documentation, and I'm trying to say something which is like an internal working of the roll forward utility without proper documentation support. So I mean, knowledge center doesn't explicitly talk about such a list, such an existence of a list or something like that, or internally how it handles. So neither I have access to any internal documentation. So I just don't want to reveal some information uh, uh, which is incorrect, or which is uh, which I mean, definitely these things require validation from some IBM developers or engineers who has built that utility. So so pretty much that's it. So also I'm not I hope I'm not revealing any confidential, protected, or classified information. I mean, I don't think so. It's anything like that. So all I'm doing is just doing some test cases and trying to guess the functionality of the roll forward utility, how it works. And it is logical. It's more logical guesswork and substantiated by certain test cases. So I am just still working on the test case so that it is kind of a repeatable and reproducible test cases. So whatever I have said, I'm like 90% sure it is happening. See, when I say build a list of open transactions, I don't say like it is like a linked list, or is it like a it's like a C data structure. What kind of C data structure they are using, or is it like some kind of iterator or something? I don't know. I don't know the technical details of it. But logically, what I'm saying, look at it only like a box of functionality. That's all. So it's like a black box thing. So, but you just know what is going in and what is coming out. It's like that, right? So what the internal exact details of containing inside the box, I don't know. But probably all my test cases I have done so far, and the results and the things definitely corroborate this existence of this transaction ID list, uh, because I see that jump behavior. And not even jump in, if you don't even you can delete those log files. So if there are log files which are having only committed and rolled back transactions, apart from your, and if it is not falling in the open transaction list, definitely it is keeping those log files. So I can see that in when I do some testing. But again, so definitely some validation will be required. That's it in this video tutorial. Hope this information was useful to you. uh, See you in the next video tutorial. Until then, bye bye.